Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of You Always Win's podcast.
Welcome back everyone. Hope you guys have a great weekend. Or if you're watching on the weekend, hope your weekend's going well.
This is actually a holiday weekend in America.
Oh, is it? What holiday?
Labor Day?
Labor Day. That's it?
You know what's weird is I always used to have to work on Labor Day. I thought, what? That's like a slap in the face that you have to work on
You know everyone
Labor
else
Day.
is chilling on some margaritas and you're like turning wrenches and stuff.
So it's one of those 3-day weekends we got going on here. But we got some pretty cool and interesting and possibly controversial topics to talk about today. Controversial is if you take it for where you guys want to, either in the comments, your own beliefs, other people's beliefs, and we're going to try and pass on our beliefs or comment on our opinions.
This is basically where we talk about the news and we share our opinions. You have them, we have them. We don't have to always see eye to eye, and that's the beauty of it, right? We respect your opinion. Hopefully you respect ours. If not, well, c'est la vie. What are you gonna do?
Punch in the face. No. All right, we're gonna start off with Battlefield 5 has been delayed. We talked about this last week, so there's a lot of you guys could speculate why this happens. Okay, so last week in the podcast we talked about Battlefield being kind of sandwiched in between Black Ops and Red Dead.
Bad.
They were sandwiched. In there, like they were the cheese in between.
And we were saying, like, spread them out. And this is, that's not the reason, though. That's not the reason.
No, I'm pretty sure they watched the podcast. DICE and EA said, listen.
You know what? They're right.
You Always Win said that we're sandwiched like a piece of jerky in here. And we ought to get out of this sandwich.
Yeah. No. So they're basically the reason that they gave. That they, I saw it on Twitter today, and they said basically,
Well, how long is it first? How long is the delay?
To November 20th.
Over a month.
Yeah, so COD usually release it around November 10th or 11th or around their first week and a bit in November.
Right.
They're going near the tail end of November. Now, the reason that they gave, that everyone read, was because based on the beta and the feedback that the gamers gave and the pro gamers, I put quotes around pro because I don't care for these games here. These aren't made for MLG. We are the consumer. We vastly outnumber the pro gamer. If you make a game for pro gamers, you're making it for a handful of people versus millions. So that right there, I don't know what company would absolutely listen to pro gamers, first of all. You know what I mean? You don't design it for that. Anyway, they said because there was serious issues and they're like glaring issues and this was broken, they say broke as in it's not what people wanted. Shocking that people complained and didn't want certain things. They're like, oh no, it should be doing this. I get it that there's certain things that probably needed to be adjusted. And I'm not saying that that's not one of their valid reasons why they're doing it. But I ain't drinking that Kool-Aid, man. I ain't drinking that Kool-Aid like everyone else that I see on Twitter. You're all like, no, man, this is what it makes sense. I'm glad that they're putting it off. And yeah, sure, they'll be able to fix it. But dude, you know as well as anyone, Meaty, that no matter what the game, no matter if it's Battlefield, Call of Duty, all these AAA games, whether 1 month is not going to make a huge dent in the number of months that they constantly update these videos, or these video games rather. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's never perfect on day launch. So 1 month and all of a sudden everything's going to be fixed. I'm sorry, but I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. It doesn't make sense. And there's other reasons why you and I think,
Yeah, what DICE did in the recent releases was pretty cool. We talked about it on another podcast where they had a community test server where they, instead of just implementing a change that may break a bunch of other things, they would implement it on these test servers, and people had the ability to go in via like a beta and go on those test servers and play the changes, even if it was kind of like how when PUBG first came out, it didn't have any debris.
Yeah, they do that exactly. That's exactly what PUBG does, right? Test out some stuff.
And you're testing to make sure that the fixes are good and that they're not breaking anything else. So they did a good job with that since Battlefield 4. Now, it just seems a little weird that they've had a couple years to get to this point. We're really close to it releasing. And again, with their strategy of the whole test environment, is it really the reason why that they've delayed it? Now, I would say I'm not out to criticize. I'm actually saying good job.
Yeah, it's smart. Oh, I'm not saying that it's not smart. I think it's very smart what they did. I just think I'm not drinking that Kool-Aid that everyone's just regurgitating. You're like, oh man, they said it was broke. Everyone, all you're doing is regurgitating. It's not even your thoughts. That's why I hate reading that stuff, because it's people just reading or hearing someone else say it, and then they regurgitate the same thing, and then everyone starts chanting the same mantra. They're like, oh yeah, man, that's totally the way it is. How about you look outside that and think? You know,
if they looked at, if let's say that there is some glaring issues, because I watched a few people play the beta, and there was a lot of things they liked about it. There was being a beta, it was pretty buggy in certain situations. Now,
that's normal though, dude. Every game has been like that lately.
No, I know, but if they could say, it's not a lie for them to say, listen, we have some glaring issues, and we need to make changes.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's not that they're lying or being dishonest with everybody, but I think that it's a much bigger, broader picture than just that. Because
that's my point. It's not. I don't think it's the primary reason why they're making such a. Why do this? They've never done this. You're telling me that there weren't glaring issues with Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4, or anything like that?
Well, some of them were actually unplayable. When
exactly. My point is that they've always stuck to that October schedule, but all of a sudden now these glaring issues are so bad. The game is not completely unplayable. There are issues with it, but they normally fix it, and they've got a month or so to fix it normally. It's always been an October release for years now. And all of a sudden this year, it's November because some pros are like, oh my God, it's broken. It's not broken. There are issues, but that's not the primary reason, man. And I think it's smart, but at least, come on, man. Like, don't insult. I find it insulting, really. You know? I find it insulting that they'd say that.
So this transitions us into the second part of the Battlefield 5 thing, and which could have a major impact on this. So there's been a lot of backlash, like we talked last week. We won't go deep into that because we talked about a lot of it already. But since our last podcast, the let's see, he was the the CEO at one point?
He was an executive. He was a DICE and EA executive. So for both the developer and the publisher all together. So he was pretty friggin' high up.
So Patrick Soderlund, he's been with DICE for over 20 years. He was the CEO of DICE in 2006 when they created Battlefield. And then when EA reacquired them, he actually joined the management team at EA in some management role. And then he came back on as chief design officer for DICE. And he also was the guy that everyone was blaming and giving flack to off of, what was it? It was the Battlefront loot box thing.
Oh, right.
So he's the guy who got all the hubbub about that. And because Disney stepped in and the community as a whole stepped in, they reversed that. But this is the guy who decided on that, apparently, according to 4 different news stories I have up here. So, all right, in a nutshell, there was some backlash like we talked about.
The girls being in it, women being in it.
Historical accuracy, relevance, and all that stuff. So, what DICE, in a nutshell, without going crazy, was saying that Battlefield 5 they didn't want to make it the regurgitation of every single battle, every single thing that we know about that other games have done.
Like you couldn't play the game and learn about history of World War II. It was just, it's based on it. You know what I mean? It's based on
Arnhem, Berlin, Arnhem, Normandy, the Battle of the Bulge, the Sevastopol, all these battles areas that we all know and that they've all been recreated. So after all this happened, DICE came out and said that that's kind of what we were going for, which is why they said, showcasing that there was women at the front lines and women with prosthetics and sniping and being all whatever was in there. And I'm going to tell you my opinion on this. I don't care if it's a man or woman or what. As long as the game plays well,
if it doesn't detract from the immersiveness of the game. as long as it doesn't
Right.
detract from that.
And there was plenty of men and women and all kinds of people fought in these wars. Wars were pushed through villages where they were non-combatants and they end up having to fight.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that going on.
But dude, when you're playing a game, do you notice looking around? Are you taking a head count of how many people are women versus how many people are men in there? You don't even look at that. All you see is this soldier. You don't look at their face. You don't know if they're man or woman.
Right.
It's just a game, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
the other side of that is we don't look at that, but the people who want to force their agenda on us is saying that we don't care that there's women not in there. We don't care if it's one or the other. We need women, 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 women.
Yeah.
And they're making it like this very strange issue. Like to normal people, it's not an issue.
No.
Okay, so if it's something today where everything's balanced up, or if it's something from 70 years ago or 80 years ago when it was mostly one versus the other, either way. And I'm not against showcasing what some of the great people did in trying to survive and fight in a war. But that's my opinion. That's where I stand. But if your opinion is to force your opinion down my throat and say that I have to bend over and accept everything that you say, and I no longer have an opinion.
Because this is how I believe. Yeah, exactly.
That's a problem.
Yeah, but that's today's society, though.
That's today's society. I don't have an issue.
Yeah.
Other than the fact that if I don't just freely accept yours, you crush mine, I have to change all my belief systems.
Yeah. I don't get bent out of shape if things aren't exactly the way I envision it. But if you don't accommodate certain other people and their beliefs and the way that they want to do it and the way that they think it should be done, they get irritated, angry, like volatile. Yeah. Like,
right.
I'm sorry, but so many people out there, and maybe some of you guys are like that too, but you need to control yourself. You know, you need to calm down and stop being so irrational with this. Like, letting something like this get to you is ridiculous. Like, I'm not here to push you down. I don't care. I have no issues. Like, a big issue like today in balancing society, we got racial issues, we got sexuality issues, and men versus women, which has always been there. I can tell you right now, when I go to sleep, none of those issues are ever dancing around in my head. I don't ever care about it as long as it's not slapped in my face, as long as I'm able to still have an opinion, which sometimes is a problem. Honestly, it's hard to express yourself if you are against the mob right now. Socially, you get destroyed. You know what I mean? Like, if you're not on their side and they're talking about what the funny thing is, it's very hypocritical of them, because they're talking about and they're pushing all this stuff so that everyone is equal, so everyone feels part of society and people aren't oppressed, right? So it's a good feeling. Yeah. But the thing is that they're so aggressive about it that you start oppressing our opinion, the other people. Like, if I'm not being negative, but I disagree, I'm not saying that I do, but if I disagreed with certain things, like say I don't like homosexuality, which isn't true. But if I didn't, I have the right to feel that way as long as I'm not oppressing them and I'm not being mean to people. What does it matter? But it's so like, you're a bad person and blah, blah, and they're like down your throat. That's the way society is, especially on social media. You cannot have a difference of opinion. That's the problem. And it seems like it's forcing everything in game culture to go a certain way to appease these angry mobs. They're so volatile. And I'm just like, is it really that necessary to go that far to appease these people? I'm not angry. I don't really care, but my goodness, man. You know what I mean? I just find it exhausting.
If I had an agenda or I had a social issue that I wanted to throw out there to the world and try and work toward, I would definitely do it a completely different way. You know, you ask for acceptance of differences, but what you're not actually asking for acceptance of differences. You're saying, stop thinking what you're thinking and accept what I think.
I'm right, you're wrong.
There's no balance to this. You gotta throw it out there, have open discussions, and like I've always said about what makes us all unique and interesting is our differences. Right?
I thought it was my third nipple.
It might be.
Okay.
Are you using the other two? Okay. So that's the thing, right? That's what makes us interesting is our differences, as well as if you it's so hilarious because we're actually building up to the point of this. This is all actually tying together.
Yeah.
That when you want acceptance, you don't go out there and beat up people. You take what probably was something, well, not probably, it was definitely skewed for a long time. You can pick any social thing that you want, and it's always been skewed the wrong way. But instead of trying to find that middle ground, that balance point, you're skewing it all the way to the opposite end.
Yeah,
and
you're
that's
just
not
as
the way
bad.
that you.
You're just as bad as
way,
the side there.
Yeah, that's not the way to get an open dialogue with people. You don't need to convince others to change their mind, but what you need to do is convince the evil people that oppress or bully or beat or physically harm based off their opinions.
Yeah.
You know, that's a totally different group than I would say.
Who cares if they disagree with you? What does it matter? Walk away. Like, yeah, fine, you're ignorant. Or, you know, I'm not saying you are ignorant, but in your mind, if you think they're ignorant, then label that. Like, you're an idiot, you don't know what you're talking about, walk away. Instead, you want to fight, you want to argue, you need to force your opinion on them. Why are you wasting your energy? If that person, like you said, Meaty, if someone is causing someone harm and oppressing them because of those opinions, that's a different issue. But expressing a difference of opinion should not entitle you to belittle them because that's what the mobs are doing, because that's what the masses are doing. You have no right to do that. You have no right to do that to other people if they're not causing you harm, just because they don't agree with your view. That's the way I feel like social platforms in society is that it's like they're almost doing the opposite. You know, like it was a problem because it was all men dominated, and all of a sudden we're like, we want female, but it's like, when does it become too much? When does it become, when are our rights, I'm not saying they are, but when do our rights start getting violated because you're trying to pull it so hard the other side? Will we actually be able to balance it? Will you stop pulling it that way, or are you going to be just as bad once you start getting that power? I don't know, man. But with EA...
So EA, this Patrick Soderlund guy, so let's say that he's been with them for 20 years. He sat on executive positions with both DICE and EA for 20 plus years. So this guy comes out and says... Basically, he's talking directly to the people who are mad about the historical inaccuracy or women in general. Okay?
Right or wrong, whatever.
Which would have blown over.
Yeah.
It would have blown over because nobody cares once the game is out. So all of that would have blown over. So his response was to say, if you don't like it, don't buy it. This is a executive... that's supposed to be building and selling games for profit says if you don't like... Here's
like
what he
said. Like a voice
of
the company.
That's what he tweeted. But let me take you deeper into what he said. If you don't like our social opinions and the way we built this, don't buy our game on a AAA title. So I want to throw that to you guys in the comment section. Whether you feel, however you feel, how do you feel about a guy who has a job to do? His job is to sell video games.
To the masses.
Right? To the masses.
To the established
And this
fan
guy,
base.
this executive says, if you don't like, and because it goes farther in, he talks about his own daughter. He talks about how
it influenced putting women in
he's
there.
He's a social justice warrior for his daughter and for all the women around the world who need this 6 foot, he's really tall too, I guess. You need this 6'5" Swedish guy to speak for all the women around the world, right?
No, you speak for yourself.
I think that most of the women are going, no, Meaty, we don't. I know, that's my point.
Yeah.
My point is, you don't need this guy speaking for you.
Yeah.
You don't need this guy taking up the battle for you, if it even is a battle, because, like I said, it would have all just been
It would have blown over, dude. It would have blown over, no problem. But that comment there, it was like what you're saying. He's like, you don't agree with my opinion. You shouldn't have to do that. This is a business model. It's not about forcing opinion. So that just tells me, again, it's that extremism. It's going from like, we were the problem. Let's say if we were the misogynistic people that always want just guys in there and whatever. You and I don't really care about that. But if we were, and all of a sudden it's like, well, now it's going to be this way or forget it. It's like, you're here to run a business, dude. Like, that's
here's
a
some
blunder.
Here's some of the like the quotes. It talked about that Sunderland, this guy, he said that the landscape of gaming has changed, and EA is looking for more inclusive, calling video games gender diverse. And he noted that there are a lot of female people who want to play, okay, and there are a lot of male people who want to play badass women, like I don't know, like Tomb Raider, maybe.
Yeah, that's a great game.
How many years has that been going on? I love playing. I don't care if it's male or female. And I don't go, oh my gosh, that girl, she's actually tough. I mean, I guess you actually have to kind of have a screw loose. But listen, it goes on. It says he complained that he added to those complaining about the inclusion of female characters in Battlefield 5 are uneducated and they don't understand that this is a plausible scenario. You're right. He's actually right in that term. But you're not some dude on Twitter. You're the CEO or an executive for a video game company. It's not your place to say that your potential game buyers are uneducated and that they don't understand this is a plausible. Well, of course it's a plausible scenario.
Yeah.
Look at Afghanistan. Look at all this stuff lately. But we're talking about World War II.
Yeah.
So all you had to do is, instead of bringing out the daggers, say, listen, like what we talked about a little while ago, we're not looking to show you Arnhem and Berlin and you know, all these big wars. We're showing you other parts where there were women that were up there fighting and getting killed because they didn't have weapons.
We just want to be inclusive. So
it makes sense.
Yeah, it doesn't.
It makes total sense.
It doesn't.
But instead of saying you're uneducated, and then he goes on to say, well, if you don't like it, don't buy it. And guess what? In 3 weeks, the guy's leaving the company.
Yeah. You think that it was his choice? No. Him resigning is not his choice. He's high up there.
But he's still getting a golden parachute. If you don't know what a golden parachute is, you guys, it's where someone has to step down and the
to
EA
take the hit because they're like, listen, we took care of this. He's gone.
Huge retirement. He's going to land very softly with this. But it's just, you know, honestly, my take on this is I have feelings for both sides. Like, this side makes valid points. This side makes valid points. But in the very center of it, the whole thing is just stupid. Yeah, it's really dumb because I don't know. I guess there are some people out there that troll forums or live in forums and never see the light of day, and they talk about how a woman on the trailer broke the game for them. Then you yourself might need to look in the mirror and figure out what's going on inside, right?
Why that threatens you so much, threatens who you are so much. Yeah. I mean, who really cares? You know, I get, and I do get both sides, like you're saying. Like, I understand. I don't like this forced thing just to make everyone feel inclusive. Like, honestly, it's a good thing. I'm not against it at all. I don't really care. And like I said, if I play a game, I'm not noticing anyone, whether they got dingle nuts or some jumblies or something like that. I'm not looking. I'm focused on the game. That's it. Right. But I don't understand, like, sometimes they need to be, if they know their audience and they're focused on it, why you can't be inclusive. You cannot make, you know, that, what is it they say, that cliche, you can't make everyone happy. Well, then what you should do if you're going to make the game, there's no problem wanting to be inclusive, but you can't cram that stuff just because it's a reflection of today's sort of mentality and this the way that's going. You know your target audience. Yes, there are female gamers. I'm playing devil's advocate here. I'm not trying to be misogynistic, but devil's advocate. Yeah, there are female gamers. Heck, my wife plays Call of Duty and she loves shooter games. You know what I mean? I get that.
Right.
But the majority, like, I'm talking, like, I don't even have to make up stats. It'd be 95% of gamers in games like that. And I'm talking Fortnite, but in shooter military style are almost all males. You know what I mean? Know your target audience. It's fine to put that in there, but if you cram that down their throats, you're going to anger a huge portion of your audience. Or you say, well, we'll put it in there, or maybe we don't. Maybe girls feel like, oh, there should be one in there, but are they going to get angry? And I'm just saying, from a business standpoint, if 5% say, I'm not getting it, it's not that big of a deal. I'm just saying, like, from that standpoint, you know what I mean? A business standpoint. I don't know about fighting something so tooth and nail when you're going to possibly isolate and offend your majority target audience. I think it's a dangerous thing to do.
Well, but his position, he should have never done that.
No.
You know, you ever see those Twitters where, like, this is my personal Twitter, it has no effect on where I work and all that. You see that, but you know, if you're going to hold a certain title, you can't just do that, or you shouldn't be in that position. No. It's like with the Hollywood people do the same thing
because
it's huge
they've got
they push their social agenda on you. You're like, hey, you know what?
Entertain me. Go in the movie.
Pitt, yeah, just
Shut
make a
up.
movie. I don't want to know that you're hugging trees or that you're this or that.
I'm not looking to you for social justice. You're just an actor. I look for people that are
really
meaningful.
could care less what those guys say
Yeah.
because I have my own feelings. I have friends and acquaintances that I would much rather engage in an intelligent conversation with than some Hollywood actor or some CEO from a video game company who's apparently has over like 11 to 12 million dollars of stock in EA. So this guy's he's not hurting on the money front either.
No.
But we thought it would be an interesting topic of conversation for you guys down in the comment section to see what you always be respectful of others.
Yeah. Don't attack each other if someone has a difference of opinion, because if we see you going overboard, it'll be the last comments you make on these videos. I promise you that.
The idea is to engage in as an intelligent conversation as you can. And if you don't know, instead of feeling subpar yourself, try this. And this is what's made me successful in my life. Close your mouth and listen to what others say. It works. It works every single time. Instead of talking, you shut up and you listen. And then you can say, wow, you know what? I never thought of that. Or I didn't know that. And now you can apply that to your beliefs and just see where it goes from there. It'll work out. Trust me.
And you know what? And listening doesn't mean waiting to speak. That's not listening. That's not listening.
All right. So apparently you came across something that has to do with a little bit of PS4 and possibly a little bit of PUBG. What did you find?
A little bit of this, a little bit of that. So apparently, I don't even think this is really shocking. I think it should be expected, and I think a lot of us have been expecting this a long time. We know that, PUBG came out on PC. It's it was the head of the spear for the Battle Royale in its popularity right now. And then Fortnite took it and then just went crazy with it. But there was a point when we knew that it was going to translate and it was going to go over to consoles. But what Bluehole decided to do, and it was likely because Microsoft threw money at it, is they had an exclusivity agreement with Xbox. So it came out on Xbox One, nothing on PS4. And people were like, it's got to come out on here. I mean, from a business standpoint, of course it makes sense that it's going to come out on PS4 that has more than twice the number of consoles that Xbox has. It just makes sense.
Is that where it's at in sales, huh?
It's more than twice. They're continuing to gain and sell more consoles at more than twice. It's like 2.3, 2.5 times the number. So they're still getting even more ahead. It's done. This generation is done. PS4 destroyed Xbox. This isn't a fanboy or anything. It's just stats. Remember, truth doesn't care about your feelings. It doesn't give a crap about it. So anyway, but we're coming, and I came across this because it was like, okay, well, how long? You knew it was a timed exclusive contract. Because if it wasn't, that's a stupid blunder from a business perspective from Bluehole to say, we'll give it on Xbox, nothing on PS4. It doesn't make sense, not from a business standpoint. So in this article that I found, it said that there was a documentary, and I think it was to do with the transition from PC to Xbox One, and they were showing it, but apparently it's officially leaving early access on the console in a few weeks. So in a few weeks, they have to have been working on this constantly nonstop. Like, I mean, if they're done their exclusivity, if you were doing that, right? This was your business meeting, and all of a sudden, at the end of a few weeks, you were allowed legally to put it on a console that has twice as many gamers as the one that you had the exclusivity. Would you not have that thing absolutely ready to go right then, like the next day? You know that they're working on that crap.
Oh, for sure, because my job would be to sell video games.
That's it.
Wink. Wink, Soderbergh.
Yeah, exactly. It's business. They're not saving the world. They don't care about fanboyism. It's all business. And obviously, Microsoft threw them a lot of money to get this deal because it doesn't make any sense from any other perspective unless Microsoft threw them a big chunk of change. So that's
for a timed exclusive.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. So, but in this documentary, when they're going through the offices, I guess in Bluehole and everything like that, and it said it was just a fraction of it. I didn't actually look at the video or anything like that, but as the article's talking about it, they said you could miss it, but you can see the PS4 Pro there, and you can see the controller, the actual PS4 controller, and they're on the screens and they're working on it. So you know that they're getting ready. So you can expect, I guarantee you in a few weeks, you're going to be seeing PUBG going on PS4. But I'm not trying to be rude or anything like that, and I'm certainly not trying to shoot ourselves in the foot with Bluehole, but with the popularity of Fortnite, does anyone really care at this point? I mean, look at when you and I play PUBG now, it's like fix PUBG. There's so many glaring issues wrong with it right now, and with the popularity of Fortnite, and then we've got Black Ops, the blackout mode coming and Battlefield coming out. Does anyone really care at this point after seeing so many videos and everything like that?
Yeah.
Is it really going to make that big of a dent? I think they did such a horrible decision, like Titanfall.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a big Respawn, the original people from Infinity Ward, when they created Respawn Entertainment and created Titanfall. Titanfall was one of the reasons why I bought an Xbox One before my PS4. It was and Garden Warfare. But they did an exclusivity. And so when Titanfall 2 came out, on PlayStation, the sales weren't that great because they had already basically snubbed a huge community. But they didn't know that at the time, really, in their defense.
They wouldn't have known which was going to sell more, if they were going to sell the same, or how that would have worked out.
So the point is that PUBG is likely you're going to be seeing it on the PS4. If you've been waiting, you don't have a PC, you don't have an Xbox, and you've actually been waiting for this game because you kind of like it or you wanted to try it, or maybe you did at a friend's house, I guarantee you it will be coming to the PS4 in the next few weeks. It'll be coming on there.
What's funny about that is I think there might be... There's got a lot of people that I talk to, they tried Fortnite. They're like, it just wasn't for me. They don't hate the game. They just don't play it. Like, there's a lot of people that play it, right? It's life. Yeah. But there's a lot of people that don't as well, okay? So maybe those people are looking forward to this coming out. And check this out. If you're Microsoft, you just dumped a ton of money for a timed exclusive. And all the glitches and things that came to your console have all been being worked on. So when it releases on PS4, it's going to look like gold compared to your release.
Exactly.
And everyone's going to go, well, when this came out on Xbox, it sucked. It wouldn't play. And it's not the console's fault.
No.
It's the new release.
Recoding it and everything like that.
They've been able to work through the issues, and they're not going to dump the PlayStation version without all those issues that have already been fixed. So it's kind of funny. What'd you get for your money? How about this? And we've said this before. It cuts into both the console things. Stop this stuff, man. The only people that suffer from this is gamers.
Yeah. I hate
these exclusives.
Hate it.
If it's a game that's designed to go out on PlayStation, Xbox, and PC, and you do the exclusive thing, it's one thing if you make your own game, like Halo for Xbox or Uncharted. That's fine. That's saying, look, we're adding value to our console because we have our own in-house studios that build awesome games. Perfect. But if it's a game like Titanfall or these what other games that PUBG exclusivity thing, games like that are designed for all of them, and you throw money out, and both of them have done it. Sony and Microsoft. Both
Call
of
of
them are
Duty
guilty.
right now. Sony's
Call of Duty.
I hate that.
Well, you know why they're doing it? Because for so many years, when Xbox was kicking Sony's butt back in the Xbox and the PlayStation 2 and 3 days, Microsoft owned MLG stuff. All of it was on there.
Yeah.
And then once the better console came out, Sony's like, hey, let's do what they did. Yeah. And they did. So you can't say it's this person's fault or that.
No.
But really, at the end of the day, we, the gamers, are the only ones that suffer, because if you're on this console and the other console company did the whole I got deeper pockets, then it just screws us.
It fragments us as gamers, instead of bringing us together, instead of us all saying, if you're a Call of Duty fan, like I am a huge Call of Duty fan, I don't want to disconnect. I don't want to snub you just because you played it on Xbox. I don't care what you play it on. If you like Call of Duty and I like Call of Duty, I don't care what you play it on. I'm like, right on, exactly. Man. I love Call of Duty too. But these corporations, they actually create fanboyism. And then the stupidity. Fanboys, you need to stop doing that. You make yourselves look like morons. You really do. You're drinking corporate Kool-Aid when you have no stake in it. You got no horse in the race or pony, whatever that saying is. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
So why are you caring about that? Like, why are you snubbing other people? We're gamers, man. You're not better because you're on one console or the other. That's ridiculous. That's what the corporations want you to do. So are you a corporate sheep? Like, are you just drinking their Kool-Aid? You can't think for yourself as a gamer, as a good human being? Don't let these corporations whose jobs are to make money at the expense, we're just numbers to them. Don't let them fragment us. And
I'm number 22.
You're number 20. I just wish they would stop doing it. I really do. I absolutely always hated it. It just caused problems in the society, in the gaming communities and everything like that. Oh, we're better than you because we got this. And it makes certain people, like if you don't get that timed exclusivity, like, say Xbox, you feel snubbed by Call of Duty. And all of a sudden, they're like, you know what, screw Call of Duty. Maybe I'll get it, maybe I won't. I don't really care. It's like they feel disconnected or not appreciated, like their money doesn't matter. And I think it's a bad business decision.
The developer takes the heat, but in that backroom dealing, they also took the check to make it exclusive. So it is their fault too.
Yeah, for sure. Anyway, coming soon, few weeks.
All right, you guys. So our last topic of conversation here today is an interesting one, I think. So PewDiePie, the single most subscribed channel on YouTube for how long? A few years, right?
He's the reigning king.
So he's one guy, and he's like 55, 60 million, something like that?
Yeah, something ridiculously big like that.
So he's about to get overtaken and lose the title from another channel called T-Series.
Oh, T-Series, that's right.
T-Series. They're growing like 10 times faster than him. They got billions and billions more views than him.
Yeah, but there's a good reason though.
There's a good reason. They are we wrote this down. So T-Series it's
India's
a music and movie studio channel
for India. India's largest music and movie. So right there, before we get into the other assets or aspects of this, not assets. We got assets. Aspects of this. The fact that it's India's largest, you have to remember that India recently, I think it was a year ago or maybe it was, I don't know, reached 1 billion people. There are 1 billion people in one country. That is a huge amount. A huge amount. You create the largest one for that with 1 billion people potentially watching. You know what I mean? Of course you're going to crush.
It's pretty awesome, too. I mean, I'm looking at the channel, and they not only put up music videos from, obviously, people who are signed with this T-Series company, but they put up full-length 2.5, 3-hour movies.
Like Bollywood.
Bollywood movies.
And you mentioned something, too. You said something that is very, like on point with this. We talk about Bollywood. Yeah. And that is it's like India's Hollywood. That'd be that'd be like Hollywood, full on Hollywood, all of Hollywood, every movie, like all the studios, every music industry, all on one YouTube channel. Of course it's gonna crush, man. Of course it's gonna do
billions of subs.
Oh my god! But even that can't really compete. You're talking about 300 million people in the United States versus 3 times that amount in India. So if they have something like that. And they're active. How can you compete against something like that? Yeah. How can you compete against 1 billion people? You put something like
English? English is popular language there.
English is actually a universal language in India because there's so many dialects. There's so many languages. They literally cannot understand each other. North and the south of India, east and west. Yeah. The dialects are so different, and there's so many different languages in there that English, oddly enough, is the universal language in India. So that's an interesting thing. But you know what? I know for a fact, like you were like, oh man, they got to be botting and everything. I'm like, I don't know if they're botting necessarily, but even if they were, I suspect that YouTube wouldn't do anything about it. You know why? They probably cannot wait to dethrone PewDiePie. They can't afford to get rid of him, and they probably don't have any reason to get rid of him.
You think that they don't like him because of all the stuff that's happened over the past few years?
Dude, if you follow him, he's constantly talking about it. He's constantly butting head. He constantly has videos demonetized or no ads whatsoever. And look for the largest channel on the platform, if you look at his views, they're not near as high as some of these other channels. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you look at the percentages of views to sub ratio, you guys. That's what we always talk about.
And
it's
he's been there for a long time, but still,
this guy's got like 65 million subs, and he gets somewhere between 1 and 4 million views per video.
No way. There's no way that's happening. You know what I mean? There's no way that that's happening. Not with that many people there. If other people are being oppressed, look at it. Disney got rid of him, right?
Yeah.
They had to. They just like, we don't want to be associated with you. Which was all bullcrap made by mainstream media and all that other garbage that would painted him out to be some crazy lunatic, racist or something. He's like, whatever, man. He's like, whatever, screw you guys. But they don't like that. And YouTube's movement and everything that's happening in YouTube, they want the movies. They want the Hollywood actors. They want those, they look at stuff like Netflix. There's so many articles and in talking with them, we already know that that's what they want. It's not so much YouTube anymore, it's our tube. But I guarantee you they would allow something like T-Series, even if I don't suspect that it may, who knows, maybe it's bought, maybe it isn't. That's not the point. The point is that if they can promote it, dude, I guarantee you they will. They want to dethrone PewDiePie. They want to have the world look at this and say, look at this. This is the #1 channel now. Not this guy who makes these crazy videos, which I personally find entertaining.
It's funny that it's one guy. I mean, he probably has, like we do, we have an editor or graphics people, but he's a one-person channel. Where this is like it's like taking Paramount Pictures and Fox and all these things and jam them together.
Everything.
But they have some crazy views.
Yeah, but dude, think about it this way. It took an entire nation of 1 billion people. Basically, that's what is backing this channel to dethrone one guy. Yeah. I don't care if he gets dethroned or not. That's some impressive crap, man. Pewds, you the man. He blazed a trail for a lot of people, though. Whether it was gaming when he started there, and now I like his stuff he does now is more entertaining. His stuff now is funnier than his gaming stuff. Yeah. So here's I never mentioned this, but it was one of those things, lack of knowledge. I blamed him. I blamed him for whatever he did that caused adpocalypse, right? Yeah. But then, getting some of the information out there. But here's my issue with it. It's like, listen, and this happens all across YouTube. So if you're going to do a satire piece, okay? Yeah. Come on. Is it worth pushing that line to see if people get your joke or not when you're probably going to end up doing something that's more harmful than good? And not only for yourself, because why do you care when you're already a multi-millionaire if ads are gone? Yeah, what about the rest of us? Yeah, he can poison the well, and I agree with you. I did
and
actually feel that way.
And it's not just him, though. No. It's not just him. It's people doing these really, like, right on the edge of racist, right on the edge of against women, against all forms of...
Well, dude, it's even the big channels, the huge channels that use, and I know some of you even have it, you're always like, why don't you guys swear? Why don't you do that? Because we're professional, because we're business people, because we don't speak like that normally. I know it's a disconnect. Kids love hearing people swear and F this and F that, but from a money standpoint, remember these people, if there was no money on this, those people would not be there. I promise you they would not be putting that time and effort into it. There's no way. So that being said, if money is their driving factor for all of these things, why not act professional? They don't want to associate. Yeah. So all of a sudden, all these professional businesses, remember, these businesses that are throwing the money on them, that are paying for all these ads and everything like that, while younger people, if you're young, you don't mind and you like it because you can kind of relate and everything like that, well, the money that's paying them are coming from people wearing suits and ties. They're professionals, they're in the business, and they're adults. They're not little kids screaming and yelling and profanities all over the place. So when they see their product that have to answer and they're trying to say we're a family business, Procter & Gamble, Johnson & Johnson, Walmart, they don't want their ads. They don't want their money associated with someone who behaves like that. And so when all those ads were on everything and they didn't change and they didn't care, all of that contributed to the current state that we're in right now. All of those people, I blame all of them for doing that. I don't necessarily blame just PewDiePie and everything like that. There are some issues. No,
exactly. That was the full information deal, But I still haven't gone totally against my beliefs that these big channels who had way more spread of information definitely caused adpocalypse. Why do you think that they never allowed this stuff in television.
Yeah.
You couldn't smoke cigarettes. You couldn't use foul language.
There were rules
until you got into movies and they had a certain rating in the movie, and then you could drop that stuff. That's why. And so to say, well, this is the internet. It's like the Wild West. We can do whatever we want. Well, guess what? You did it, and now you hosed all of us with these good ads.
Yeah.
The good stuff that made us money.
The good money. G-rated,
the good money.
In the business. If you can look this stuff up yourself, I'm not going to put links or anything like that, but
link, please.
The big ads, the big money's coming in from people that are G-rated. The more G-rated that you make your content, the more you open yourself up to all these other advertisers. The ones with the huge companies, the family companies, the pharmaceutical companies.
Because it's the widest audience.
Exactly. You may be cool and may be able to connect with the younger audience, but, and that's the problem, like what you were saying. In the movies, if people, advertisements and stuff like that, based on the ratings, and even with TV, based on a kid's TV versus a family sitcom versus something like a crime thing that's a little more serious.
Yeah.
There's ratings on those TVs, and the advertisers know before their ad goes on there what kind of content is going to be on there. So they can say, I don't want my content there, I want my content here. On YouTube, there's no control. It's all like, boom, the video's there. They don't know what's on it, but their ads being...
Though we're seeing the results from the Wild West too. Now they're implementing control systems which have gone completely overboard.
They were getting
and they're demonetizing stuff like us who have gone, tens of thousands of videos without doing that stuff, and now we're getting punished because they have it's almost impossible for them to do do it correctly. You can't go video by video with every single person.
While we never swear and we never try and do something like that, now they're so focused on looking for things that might be problem. Even the violence in video games, although it might be zombies as a perfect example, is too much. Is too much for certain advertisers, and they are hammering us, even on You Always Win, based on violence in the video games, even if we're not doing
keywords. You can't say like death ship, zombie death ship.
World at War is actually triggered. Don't put World at War in your tags, even if you're playing a World at War game. Don't do it.
Yeah, war. You can't say war.
They don't like it.
See, now it's gone. And look, they're doing this because they have to try and get some semblance of control. They're not doing it to censor everybody, but because it's so big and ran so rampant for so long, it's like censorship.
They lose their business. The companies are like, if you don't get a hold of this, we're not putting our money on there.
Yeah.
We're not going to give you...
And the people who took advantage of that for so many years and made themselves all kinds of money because they did this stuff, well, that's whose fault this is.
Yeah, none of those channels have the right to whine and complain about, oh, it's so hard.
Yeah.
How about acting professional then? If this is your job and you're creating entertainment for people, why not understand the entertainment realm? It may be YouTube, it may be anything like that, but when there's advertisements, when there's money from the business world coming in, it's time to actually be professional. You know what I mean? Yeah. And if you're not going to be professional, you don't deserve any of that money. None of it. Yeah. Or get whoever you can to throw it on your videos or whatever. But, I don't blame YouTube, but it's a pain in the butt.
I find this whole T-Series, PewDiePie thing just interesting. Congrats to T-Series for like coming together as a community and having a nation that actually supports their own people. I love that. I love that. Because in America, it's you're bad if you support Americans. You're racist. You got to support everybody else but people here. So to see this happen in other country, I think it's pretty cool that you put together such a good channel that shows music videos and movies and the culture.
And that's what YouTube wants, though, man.
Yeah.
They're perfectly in line with the new philosophy. But Pewds, I still love you. I still think you're great. And
I do. I like
it took
his
a giant
stuff now.
nation to take you down, man. It took all.
I like his meme. He does the meme stuff now, which it's just funny.
I could sit and watch him.
It's goofy funny, you guys. If you guys are in for just a chuckle,
nothing serious.
That's what it is.
Nothing serious, but I don't know. I like it. I like the fact it's probably because he's so successful, though, dude, that he just really doesn't care. He's like, whatever. Maybe I get some money.
He's still just a single person channel, though.
Yeah,
I mean, that says a lot that he held on to it for so long.
For sure.
And, he's still going to be classified as still the single most, being a solo channel.
Yeah, whether or not they take it.
if you took like the Vivo channels and there was like a hub that you had to go to and sub to get to all the other Vivo would have killed them a long time ago.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know, with all the
but
music
they have the individual Vivo channels for each artist instead of one collective.
What this T-Series is, it's like if there was one Vivo channel for all of those things.
All
that's
music,
what this is.
all movies. No wonder
I
want
to talk to the person that started this. They've got a brilliant business mind.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Call me.
Call me.
Anyway, you guys, that's going to do it for today's episode. We had a good variety of stuff, again, from the Battlefield delays to the CEO, having to leave or leaving, and then the PewDiePie thing and the PS4. There's a lot of information there. You guys have a good conversation down in the comments, and please be respectful of each other. Thanks for watching.